Hello, everyone. We have Anshu Agrawal from Flint Money, and his co-founder of Flint. And Flint is a global crypto investment app which goes beyond just buying and selling coins to offer a range of passive investment assets to its user built on top of crypto. Definitely, Flint has raised a massive seed round of $5.1 million from some of the marquee VCs, including Sequoia Capital, Coinbase Ventures, and others as well. So, Anshu, welcome to the show.
Super excited to be here.
Awesome. So, Anshu, you have been trading in crypto for a good amount of time before venturing into the blockchain space as well, right? Is that right?
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. I mean, why don't I maybe take a moment to talk about this specific part? So, to be very honest, I mean, it was a bit of a very serendipitous discovery for me around crypto. So, I remember back in 2015, I was still in my university, by the way. So, I saw this movie, Social Network, right? And from there, I got to know about this Winklevoss twins. Essentially the folks who won the case against Facebook, right? For I mean allegations around stealing their idea. So and I remember they were paid out some 60 odd million by Facebook. And I just googled about them that okay, what are they doing now? I mean, I was just curious that okay, if these were folks who really projected to be the ones who could build a company like Facebook, what are they doing now, right? So I just, out of curiosity, started reading about them and found out that these guys bought Bitcoin. Uh, I mean, using that money which they had won, right, as a settlement, and that was my first moment of discovery about what is Bitcoin, right? And I mean, it was briefly mentioned that it is some new form of money, some decentralized money or something, right? And back in the day, it was still primarily used for payments, not really as a store of value or as an asset class or as a reserved currency, for that matter. So, I mean, of course, everybody or a lot of us have heard about that, about the guy Laszlo Hania who, paid around 10,000 odd bitcoins to buy a pizza. Right? I mean, because primarily it was
Two
still
pizzas.
being used as a, oh, right, two pizzas. So it was still being used as a mode of payment, right? So, I mean, I just discovered what's Bitcoin back then, but wasn't really interested about it or didn't really want to go deep into it, right? 2017 is actually when I got involved more deeply, right? During that bull run, a lot of institutions started coming in. A lot of celebrities started buying Bitcoin. Right, every day there would be some news around. Okay, this celebrity in the US bought Bitcoin, um, and that actually that is when I started learning about it. Right, as in what is it? What was the white paper? What did it promise? Right, and that's when I actually started believing that okay, how decentralized money is a much more efficient financial network.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I mean, I don't think anybody is going to pay 5% to Western Union few years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you look around, see there are certain countries like let's say Nepal or some African countries where some of the family members are still in other countries, just because they want to earn higher wages, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there is a constant remittance of money here and there. And these, I mean, there are so many institutions involved, so many, checks and balances involved, and then it also causes them, at least like you'll be baffled to know that to send money from Nepal to Dubai and all, it used to cost 10% of the transaction as a transaction fees,
Wow.
right? Which is insane. I mean, a lot of inefficiencies, right? I mean, and I particularly really believe that it is a very much, it's a much more efficient financial network, right? And as the world moves towards efficiency, uh, the world always moved towards efficiency, right? I mean, there's hardly anything which was probably more efficient, let's say 5 years back.
Mm-hmm.
Everything becomes efficient in future, right? So, I mean, I am a hardcore believer of the fact that because this is a much more efficient financial economy, the world will move to it, right? And while of course there are, I mean, back in 2017, while of course a lot of new spaces started coming up like DeFi, NFT, XYZ, so many things. I have always been primarily pretty excited about the financial aspect of it,
Mhm.
right? And so, I mean, yeah, it all happened in 2017, 2018. I was like the early adopter of a lot of new tech coming up in this space, and used to, I mean, I started with trading when I didn't understand what is trading, and hence ended up losing a lot of money as well back in the day. But I think that was a good moment of learning about this, and since then been totally pulled in, right? While of
Yeah.
course life went on with my professional career and my university as well. I always knew that this is one of the spaces I'll eventually be building for a long time in. And yeah, fortunate to have gotten that opportunity. The world has been kind. Fast forward to today, that we actually have gotten a chance to build, and uh, probably hopefully we'll be able to create a dent. So
Yeah,
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 I hope that
absolutely.
answers it.
So what I could sense is that okay, you had a exposure to the Winklevoss twin story as well. I think eventually they built Gemini, which is like one of the
Yeah,
biggest projects as well. And
absolutely.
thereafter, you dabbled a little bit in 2017, 18. I think that point in time, Bitcoin was actually shooting up to, let's say, $6,000, $7,000, and
Yes, yes.
that was the time in 2017. But after that, a little bit of ICO scams happened as well, so there was a little bit of bearish
Uh,
trend, and thereafter it really took off. So good space to be in, and especially for crypto native or fintech product managers, it is a very fascinating space to really deep dive into. So quite curious to
Absolutely.
know, you would have a worldview around fiat currencies and let's say, cryptocurrencies, or, programmable money per se, right? You
Hmm.
rightly mentioned about the decentralization trend, and the world itself is moving towards a different, trajectory altogether. Bitcoin paper started in 2008. It was launched in 2008, 9, but it took almost like 10, 11 years for the adoption to really take off. So
Right.
why this viewpoint of yours to get into this particular use case in Flint? And before that, maybe you could unpack a little bit for our listeners what exactly is Flint.
Sure. Absolutely. So, I mean, if you look around, right? I mean, I'll just take a step back and talk about the markets in general. Today, let's say, uh, uh, close to 300 odd million people have ever bought crypto, right? And out of these 300 million, let's say around 50 to 60 million are the folks who really understand crypto,
Mm-hmm.
right? Let's for the sake of this discussion, let's call them crypto natives, right? So 60 odd million crypto natives, these are the people who really understand crypto. They hold sizable portion of their net worth in crypto, right? They understand what are different chains, understand what are non-custodial wallets. They are keen about DeFi, all of these stuff, right? And then there is a very long tail of beginners, which is a 240 million odd user base,
Mm-hmm.
right? These are the people who have just been onboarded to crypto either by these exchanges of the world, who inspire them to exchange their cash with crypto, or by some of these X to earn products, right? This could be play to earn, learn to earn, contribute to earn, walk to earn, right? I mean, a lot of things. And so a lot of people are getting onboarded to this Web3 economy via these products, right? But these are still very, like, fairly very beginners, right? They either understand blue chip crypto or they have heard of meme coins, right? But these are not really people who understand what is crypto, what are the applications of it. Now we are particularly excited about that top 60 million odd user base, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reason being, if you look around, these are the people who are actually hardcore believers of the technology, right? They don't get deterred by short-term cyclical sentiments, or bear markets or winters, right? And hence it is very, first of all, easy to build for them, and it is much more fun to build for them because they will not leave the space when the sentiments are against it, because these are not the guys. These are the guys who have already moved past sentiments,
Yeah.
right? More importantly, these are the people who have a very high tendency of trying out new products, which eventually leads you to, or enables you to build innovative offerings for them, Uh, and it is because of their nature of testing out new things, right? It is very also fun to work with them. I mean, not everything needs to be very serious, right? It's just fun to work with a lot of such people. We get so many feedback here and there, right? But broadly, coming back to your question, first of all, we realized that okay, there is this 60 odd million pie in the entire crypto market, where people really understand it and hence also have high tolerance to risk, right?
Got it.
So we said, okay, we want to build for them, right? And our learning was that first of all, the current products that have been built for this market or this particular segment, there are a lot of suboptimal decision making there, right? For example, um, everybody around is like prematurely optimizing for their token price before really solving for, let's say, value creation or experience or product
Right.
market fit.
Yeah.
Right. Also, in DeFi, if you see, there are large scale rug pulls and
Yeah.
scams. I mean, I was reading a data point. I can't remember the source exactly, but I read it somewhere that in some of these dexes, right, around 60% of the tokens that get listed are rug pulled within, like, let's say 6 hours or so. Right,
Oh,
insane I mean, scale of scamming, scams happening. I hope that would have reduced. These guys would also have been taking some measures,
not
but
exactly. I think this year the scam market itself was more than $300 billion of scams, and it has
wow,
happened in a matter of like 5-6 months itself in this year.
wow.
So it's a huge TAM in that space.
Right. So I mean, with so much of things going around, there's still no focus on building trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are not, let's say, trust first businesses. These are not, let's say, experience first products. There are no value creation first products, we believe,
Sure.
right? And another thing we realized was that there has come up a bad culture of luring users with artificial token yields, leading to unsustainable CACs and again, unsustainable flywheel altogether. So we realized that while of course there are people who are trying to cater to this particular segment, the fundamentals are not really there, from what our learning was, right? And we
Sure.
figured out that okay, a good high ARPU and high innovative opportunity in crypto exists in this native segment, and the levers to win are distribution and trust,
Hmm.
right? So these were our learnings which led us to actually thinking about okay, how do you go about solving for them, right? So I mean, I'll take a pause and like just switch gears to talk about something else, as in what we are particularly interested about, right? So
Sure.
as individuals, me and my co-founder, we care about certain things, right? For example, and that has nothing to do with who we are as an individual, just that how we are conditioned, right, while growing up. For
Yeah.
example, I mean, one of the topic which really excites me is human evolution, right? I mean, I just keep reading about things like, okay, how have humans evolved? How were human beings earlier? How have their body forms evolved, right? This has nothing to do with crypto or fintech altogether, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, we care about, let's say, climate change. We care about people's relationship with money. We care about gaming, etc. There are a bunch of things we care about,
Mm-hmm.
right? We said that, okay, one of the things we care about is people's relationship with money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that is again a very very interesting topic for me. If you look around, in not only in a particular country you will find 100 examples, but if you look across different countries, right,
Sure.
everywhere the history is different. Some places people are very high risk taking in nature in terms of their money. In countries like India, the reason why people keep so much of their capital in FDs is because we have been a poor nation primarily, right? And people have really struggled to create wealth and they do not want to lose it, right? Now, this mental model is very different from what a person in Australia has, right? So when you are building on a global economy like crypto, you are going to deal with so many different people from so many different countries, right? And it is just so exciting to think of okay, what are some of the things that really unite these people culturally in terms of their relationship with money, right? So
Sure.
we said okay, this is a very interesting problem to solve, right? And then we said okay, there is this native segment, there are certain problems in the way the businesses have been built, how about we actually build, let's say, financial services for these crypto natives in a way it is actually sustainable, and in a way it is actually value producing for the customer as well as for us,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that was the genesis of talking about Flint, where we finally decided that let's build financial services for the crypto natives,
Mm-hmm.
right? And these services will eventually span across different forms of asset management, access to credits, payments, everything, right? I mean, anything and everything you do with your money today,
Sure.
uh, everything we want to build for the crypto natives, right? That is Flint. We have started with yields on crypto as a way to acquire the early set of users.
Yeah.
Reason being, as I mentioned, natives are the folks who are holding a sizable portion of their wealth in crypto assets, right? And when you are sitting on a pile of assets, the very first natural use case is to grow them,
Sure.
right? So that's how we started with saying that, okay, let's use yield as a wedge to get into this market, get the right set of customers we want. And I mean, some of the design choices are that we have insane focus on building trust, high frequency, more dependency, and above everything, just great consumer experience,
Okay.
right? We already have so many early feedback from the users that, hey, I was using this XYZ app, which also does a similar thing, but I face so many issues around withdrawal. The app crashes every few days. The app logs me out. I mean, these are all products before us that have been built by bankers, not by product people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a massive gap to actually serve this native segment that is really creating value in this economy, right? The people who are the flag bearers of this economy. So that is what Flint is.
Wow. So you actually answered the question as well. Your relationship with money and your understanding around the fiat currency and the cryptocurrency ecosystem as well. So what I could sense is that if you were to unpack that in a single sentence, you want to
Uh-huh.
cater to crypto native professionals or people to make interesting or intelligent decisions via your platform. Would that be a
Absolutely, around their
good
finances.
on their finances? Yeah, got it.
Yeah, yeah.
So for example, another segue to that, it would be, let's say, currently, obviously, the crypto markets are diverse in just not Asia, but also in global markets as well. So 160 million people within Asia are really unbanked. So a lot of people who are catering to these people are thinking that cryptocurrencies or innovation in the fintech ecosystem would actually help these people as well. So basis your humble background, your understanding of your growing up years, what I could sense is that eventually you will cater to the larger TAM. But to
Absolutely.
get into the market, you realize that, okay, let's give 10% or 13% of APY to a lot of people who are entering from, let's say, traditional equity markets to crypto ecosystem, and thereafter have that onion peel innovation where you at the core you have this particular service or product, and on top of that keep on building asset management layers, other investment layers, and then try to expand the market as a whole.
That's it. Absolutely. I mean, what you said pretty much resonates with our mission, right? Our eventual mission is to actually bring access to equal financial services to everybody in the globe,
Sure.
right? And that would not be possible if we were building in the fiat world, just because the fiat world is very much bound by the geographical boundaries and governments, right?
Sure.
I mean, the access to financial services somebody in the Nigeria has is very different from what a person in the US has, right? These are
Absolutely.
very different, right? In terms of the products they have, I mean, the access to their credit, for example, right? Now, crypto is an economy which not only is borderless, but it is also much beyond gender, race, religion, everything, right?
Sure.
There are certain countries where people are even discriminated in terms of their religion and genders,
Mhm.
right? Which is insane. I mean, this cannot happen. This is not how humanity will evolve, right? And we believe crypto is that moment, which can really solve for it. And that is what we want to just play a small role in enabling. right. And again, I mean, not that we are against, we are not fighting against some of the competitors or something. I think all of us together are fighting against the legacy systems which have created these diversifications, right? So yeah,
Absolutely.
you like pretty much summarized it very well. That's what the mission is, right? The paths we all of us would take to get there might be different, but I think what's important is we all get there, and I hope we will.
Yeah. So that's a beautiful mental model to start with, because as an early adopter, as a person who could actually sense or see the future, and you're trying to build a product in the present, so there will be definitely a lot of friction, right? I mean, it could come from various governance protocols, whether it is government or other parties included or stakeholders, or it could also come from acceptance within the larger people segment as well, right?
Right.
I'm just thinking, how do you plan to, educate your early adopters or people who are on the fence to move on
Mm-hmm.
to this particular, investment vehicle as well? Because in Asia, a lot of people hold wealth just not in the equity markets, but also in gold and in realty, etc. Right? So, how do you
Right.
plan to make that, shift, the mindset shift for these kind of people, at least the people who know a little bit about Web3 and crypto, and they are currently sitting on the fence, and they're just
Right.
dabbling a little bit, from hearsay ecosystem.
Got it. That's a great question, actually. And this is one of the things we have been really iterating on since the past few months, ever since we started Flint. Uh, we still, I can share what the learnings have been till now, right? So,
Sure.
primarily, there have been two things that have really helped us move people. One is addressing their fears, and second is being transparent, right? So, first of all, if you look around, what are some of the fears people have, right? One is that, hey, is it a scam? Is it a scam at such a wide scale, right? I mean, people who have seen cycles or some of the examples in the history definitely know, and even with the recent Luna crash, right? It's not that anything is too big to fail, right? And people realize
Right.
that
Yeah.
nothing is too big to fail,
Yeah.
right? And hence there is always a constant fear of, okay, is this a scam? Then there are fears around, okay, is it illegal? Does my government even allow that or not, right? The third thing is how do you guys do this, right? That's where the
Mm-hmm.
transparency bit comes in. When we go and say that, okay, hey, you'll get let's say 10% on your stable coins, right? People are like, hey, how are you really producing it, right? And then we take time to talk to people about that. We educate, okay, this is what we do, and these are some of the other things that can be done. There are certain other products who do this. You should check out them as well, right? The idea, I mean, if we like, whenever we have gone with an intent of educating them about the space and not Flint, those are the times when we have been super successful in actually selling Flint, right?
Hmm.
And cases where we have actually just gone out and like straight away started speaking about, okay, what is Flint, how do we generate returns, why you should probably diversify a portion of your net worth here. Those are the times where we have found it hardest to sell, right? So one of the basic learning has been that, okay, address people's fears
Mm-hmm.
and just be transparent about what it is, right? Don't try to sugarcoat it. For example, one of the things we did when we launched early on was, so earlier, like in the very early days, the risks we disclose were actually inside the app. As in, as an investor, you would onboard, you would sign up, then you would come inside the app, and and then when you scroll down and get to the FAQs, you would find the risks,
Yeah.
right? Uh, what we did was, after a few days, we actually made risk disclosure a part of the onboarding itself, which meant that unless you really read and click on I agree and check mark,
Mm-hmm.
right, you would not be able to come in. Now, I mean, one intuitive guess would be that, hey, if you are disclosing the risks upfront, people would get more afraid and they would leave,
Yes.
right? Results were actually counterintuitive. We found out that because we disclosed risks, people just got a bit more comfortable that, okay, now I know what I'm signing up for, right? There were no fears of unknown. And yes, there were some people who were not comfortable with the risks we disclosed, that, hey, this is a risk I'm not willing to take, that is okay. But the people who then actually came in, right, were very appreciative. They used to bring in more of their friends. And I think that is just the way to educate and grow, right? I mean, just constantly address people's fears and be transparent about what it is and what it is not. So yeah, these are two of the learnings, I would say.
Got it. So education, this is the way you are educating. I'm just thinking aloud, and help me out if I go astray. What if you actually build a education DAO itself, where your community members or early crypto native folks who are testing out your product or are really active in the ecosystem really do the cross education among themselves, and it becomes like a autonomous organization, and it will solve the bigger purpose, and it will be self-sustainable in the longer run as well.
Absolutely. So that's a great thought. And you won't believe, but we actually see that happening in some tiny pieces, right, on a Telegram group. So we piloted our Telegram group a few months back, and there were around, let's say, a few hundred members in the early days, right? And I mean, so of course, while we had a dedicated person in the team to actually cater to the community, there would be times when that person was not available, right? And by the
Yeah,
time you open and see, the other people have already answered the questions. That people were teaching other people that, okay, this is how it works. This is how taxations will work.
sure.
Somebody was asking, hey, how do I, buy USDT, USDC? People were telling, hey, you can go here and do this and that.
Yeah,
So that is actually happening, right? I mean, it's not that there is something we have to consciously force to make
sure.
happen. I think that is what the power of community in Web3 is, right? Web3 is.
Absolutely.
I mean, when we say that it is a decentralized money, which means there is no centralized power to enforce it,
Mm-hmm.
how else do you expect it to grow, right? The
Yeah.
only answer is community,
Yes.
right? Unless that small set of believers continuously, get more people to believe and talk about it, how else would you grow, right? And that's not just true for that decentralized money as a whole. It's also true for all such applications like ours, built around that decentralized money. I mean, people just love this economy, right? I've never seen people saying that, oh, I love INR, I love USD, I love this economy.
That's a
But
good one.
here everybody say that, oh, I just love being a part of it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's just because people see the promise in it. And it's a blessing to actually be building for this economy where your users are your evangelists.
Yeah, that's a beautiful line. I think you need to understand the fundamentals as well if you are dabbling in the blockchain or cryptocurrency ecosystem, because in a bull market, people make money. In a bear market, people make money. It's just the pigs who get slaughtered all the time. So if you don't understand the fundamentals, sooner or later, you may lose money, and that's a fact as well. So you're right on
Absolutely.
that. And community, of course, there is no Web3 product without a community. Community and Hive Brain really plays out a very integral part of your product making and also the sustenance of the product for the long haul. I am a big supporter of Web3 communities because I'm loving it. Communities, nothing but just a bunch of nodes within the network, where every node is trying to increase the value of the network by contributing, or by
Absolutely.
supporting, or by giving feedback, etc. But my interest would also be that how do I incentivize the node within the network? Let's say on a Telegram channel, I'm also part of the Flint's Telegram channel. And let's say if someone really responds well to a particular question, and that person has been, reiterating a lot of things over a few weeks. Of course, right now, maybe your growth team or marketing team could look into that particular insight and give some coupons or some incentive to that person. But to really automate the process for a long haul so that it is really scalable. Now you are in
Mm-hmm.
thousands, tomorrow it could be millions. At like Stripe is currently catering to billions as well, right? I mean, I was
Yeah.
just there in the Stripe sessions event yesterday, and they were talking
Mm-hmm.
about how do they cater to 5 billion people. So for that, they have to
Wow.
customize every element of every product in every geography. So those are very interesting things. And if you are trying to build as a product professional from ground up, then you'll have to build everything so that it could be scalable. And for scalability, as always Atlassian tells, any human interaction is a bug. So you need to actually debug the system by building so amazing workflows that it is fluid, and people are getting incentivized, and it is self-sustainable as well. And that's where that's why I always love DAOs. It feels like a
Absolutely.
good model to be in. It's definitely very difficult in terms of orchestration, in terms of setting
Mhm.
up their treasury, in terms of setting up their governance board, etc. But if you really understand the mechanics of it early on, and definitely you are the folks who really understand the game, because you have the skin in the game as well. So if you could actually think of a DAO or an education DAO, or a smaller one, right, with a small treasury which currently you are devoting towards your, let's say, marketing efforts, etc., then eventually that particular smaller DAO could actually blow up to be a bigger name within that broader blockchain ecosystem as well. So just random
Amazing.
thoughts,
Wow.
but you never know.
No, no, absolutely, absolutely. This is a pretty interesting thought. I think definitely makes sense.
Yeah. So education part for early investors are done. They get into a particular platform. They start, investing in stable coins, USDT, etc. And definitely, you are doing a lot of other product integrations as well as we speak, right? So,
Mhm.
how would the future of a user look like in, let's say, 4 years from now, or 4 to 5 years from now?
Got it.
Web3 is SaaS on steroids. So people really feel that you are going in a very, high speed. But if you were to make a prediction based on all your knowledge and insights within this ecosystem, how would the experience of a user look like 5 years from now?
Got it. That's a great question. I mean, I do have a very, wishful version of where I would like us to be in terms of the product, right? And it might sound bit amazing as well. The way we think of it is that, can we actually give, let's say, uh, a Disneyland type of experience to a user, right? In a digital world, right? For example, think of it that, okay, when you come inside the app, your wallet is the gateway to our world, right? So
Sure.
let's say your wallet is loaded with something, you have some purchasing power, or some activity, a power to do perform some activities inside the app, right? Let's say that's your wallet, right?
Sure.
Now, eventually the app will have, let's say, one, of course, a very serious and, as I mentioned, the financial aspect of the app, where we will have lots of things around, let's say, investment opportunities, lots of things you can borrow, some exciting constructs around payments, all those things, right? Around asset purchases, asset management, credits, and
Mm-hmm.
payments, right? That's one. The second, which we are really, really excited about building, is a form of a casino, right? Or let's say an engagement park. So
Yeah.
there are multiple things you can do to get some benefits, right? So think of it that every day the user comes to the app, they have something to win, right?
Yeah.
Now there will be multiple actions that can lead you to winning. These actions could be, let's say, invite your friends. These actions could be answer a few questions or take part in this quiz. These actions could be play some game, for example, right?
Sure.
I mean, prediction markets are something which have become very common right now.
Yeah.
But lots of exciting games can be built, right, which eventually lead you to win something, and that again goes back to your wallet and adds to your purchasing power, which you can again invest, or borrow something against, or just transfer to your friends, get all those things. So the idea is to actually have more of a Disneyland sort of experience,
Sure.
where anything you want to do in crypto, right, should be doable inside Flint,
Okay.
where your wallet will be, your entry pass to the entire world of experiences.
Oh, that's a very, very